Donald Trump is begging the US Supreme Court, please help me, please get involved, please do something before the sentencing after his conviction. Now, I want to remind everyone, this is what Donald Trump campaigned on. He just did an interview and said, well, I never said that. Here it is.
And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. Like Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay, then we won. And I said pretty openly, I say, all right, come on, just relax, let's go. We gotta make our country great.
Trump was asked why he never went after Hillary Clinton for her use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. So he points at himself and he says, I didn't say lock her up. Yes, you did.
Tell you what, for what she's done, they should lock her up. She's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail. You should lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
The irony of it all, with millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. If you were a spiritual person, you would say reaping what you sow. There's more. Earlier this week, Trump was found guilty by all 34 counts by a Manhattan jury. This was last week, excuse me. Falsifying business records regarding hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels. Trump has denied all wrongdoing and claimed the trial was actually rigged. We dealt with that last week. Following his conviction, Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox and Friends that he believes the Supreme Court would become involved in the case, adding, quote, I think they are deeply concerned about that, as we are. So I think they'll set this straight. So here's the irony of it. Number one, Donald Trump wants to conflate the powers of government here. He wants you to believe that somehow the Manhattan DA or the jury, the grand jury that indicted him or the jury that convicted him, somehow these individuals are all in cahoots with the National Democratic Party or aligned with the Biden-Harris White House. This is an intentional conflation of the facts. So that he can then claim that this is a grand conspiracy. You see, the pattern is really simple with him. What he loses is because forces, powerful forces got together and colluded. Now, remember, he actually spoke this into existence himself. Here it is.
She shouldn't be allowed to run. Okay, sure. If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In that situation, we could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial. It would grind government to a halt.
We're obviously living in a simulation. The irony of this happening now in real time, next election cycle. Trump, however, on Sunday evening, he appointed, as you know, 3 Supreme Court justices during his first term in the Oval Office, pleaded on Truth Social for the court to get involved before he is criminally sentenced. Now, why would the court get involved? Why? This was a local jurisdiction. The Manhattan DA is elected duly by the people in order to bring cases against wrongdoers. He has prosecutorial discretion, just like any other prosecutor, has the right to negotiate, to drop charges or decrease them. These are common normative elements of our justice system. Donald Trump, as an ex-president, has absolutely no constitutionally recognized immunities or protections. But for some reason, the Supreme Court should get involved with a case that simply has no Supreme Court value, meaning of national importance, at least by standards of the Constitution. No protections are provided. But if the Supreme Court gets involved to make a ruling on if an ex-president can be prosecuted for crimes that they committed and crimes they were indicted for and crimes they were convicted of, all by members of a jury, American citizens. If the Supreme Court will get involved in order to broker or to override the will of the people, they are already telling you they want to hand over power to a dictator. So look for the Supreme Court's ruling if they decide to take the case. So Trump posted this. Obviously, he was in his not happy place. The sentencing for not having done anything wrong will be conveniently for the fascists 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Trump wrote this to his followers. He added, quote, "A radical left Soros-backed DA who ran on a platform of, I will get Trump, reporting to an acting local judge appointed by the Democrats who is highly conflicted, will make a decision which will determine the future of our nation. The United States Supreme Court must decide. Republican nominee and convicted felon has vowed to appeal the sentence at the state level in New York." Why are you appealing at the state level, sir? Oh, because you can't appeal at the federal level. But you want the federal court, the chief appellate court in the nation, to save you. I'm actually happy this is happening. You see, it reveals him for who he is. It's just a man, poor excuse for one if you ask me. But these are his moments of significant vulnerability. You see, if Democrats understood messaging, just continue to loop him saying, lock her up. Continue to loop him saying the constitutional crisis, because he's the one creating it. He's individual convicted. And also how terribly unfair it would be for individuals who had some level of entanglement with law enforcement in a particular state. They can't even vote. But this man with 34 felony convictions can run for president and be commander-in-chief. All right, David, thoughts here?
Well, when Donald Trump talks about the sentencing hearing in July being convenient for fascists, he must be referring to his own lawyer as a fascist, because it was Todd Blanche who said to the court when Donald Trump was convicted, I would like the sentencing hearing to be in mid to late July. So the court agreed. Exactly. It just and picked a date that Todd Blanche was okay with. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it's really rich of Donald Trump to sort of say that the court system has no legitimacy, when at the same time, when his attorneys and when his team is asked, well, what about an appeal? Do you think it's going to be appealed? And Donald Trump is convinced, oh yes, we will be successful on appeal. So somehow the court has legitimacy if Donald Trump is successful on appeal, but it has no legitimacy if Donald Trump is not successful. And then the third sort of issue of hypocrisy in all this is you started with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump claiming, oh, I never said lock her up. I was trying to figure out, well, how can that possibly be true? I mean, you've got the videotape, and the only thing I can think of is that maybe Donald Trump meant to tell Fox and Friends, which by the way didn't push back on this, maybe he meant to say to Fox and Friends, well, I didn't tell my Justice Department to lock her up and to prosecute her. But if Donald Trump cannot make that distinction and not make that clear in an interview, a friendly interview with Fox and Friends, well, his dementia and his craziness is even worse than anybody imagines. Yeah. This is not a difficult thing to say, yeah, I said lock her up during the campaign, but I didn't tell my Justice Department to lock her up. The inability to make that distinction shows that he's got even more problems than we know.
Right, and the inability of two damn journalists not reminding him of this is even worse.